Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we are going to be looking at something I think is going to interest a lot of you, especially if you are beginners, because a lot of questions that I get asked in the comments is what are the best beginner books for mentalism? What are the best beginner downloads for mentalism? Same for card magic. So we're going to start also reviewing some simpler things here made for beginners, because I think a lot of you will like to have these in your repertoire and have the stepping stone to build towards some of the other effects that I review or that are talked about in the magic scene. And there's no better kind of first steps here that we can talk about than Leval's Mentalism for Beginners. I think it's a very complete package with effects that are done by some of the best in the game. So let's talk more about the download and the project right after the intro. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Mentalism for Beginners. So what is Mentalism for Beginners? It's essentially a video download by Leval on his website that will teach you all the fundamental basics of mentalism. Now it's going to teach you the fundamentals in terms of using cards, in terms of using billets, in terms of using a lot of different stuff for building kind of your stepping stone and the easiest principles in mentalism to build kind of, good routines. And by saying, the fundamental principles or that by the easy principles, that doesn't mean that these are not good. Some of the effects that he tells you, or some of the effects that if you've been, even if you've been in magic for quite a bit, picking this up will spark your imagination towards some other effects, seeing how powerful these things are, because we often overlook the basics, For example, the example that everyone uses is the crosscut force, Professionals like Ossie Wynn, David Blaine, so many top tier magicians or mentalists like Darren Brown use the crosscut force in their shows and in their professional repertoires because it is so strong if used correctly, whereas a lot of other magicians are like, no, that's too baby for me, I want to use this move. So this download is very good in the prospect of showing you how strong some of this material is. And before we dive into the material, I'm going to perform one of the routines for you here. It's very simple. So you have the cards shuffled, and then you have the cards cut. So then you're going to tell the spectators to place them at kind of a weird angle, and you tell them that what you're going to try and do now is we'll come back to the cards, but I actually want to try and connect with you here. So you can do a small game with them or a small connection. You say, perfect. So I think that we're kind of thinking the same things now, but I want to try if I can tap into kind of what you're seeing. And right now you're not looking at anything, so I'll have you actually look at something. Go ahead and look at where you cut and take a few cards. Take maybe 5 or maybe even 6 cards. So the spectator are going to take some cards. Okay, so let's say we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll take like 6 cards. And you say, perfect. So you remember, like, the deck was shuffled, you cut everything. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at the first card. So just take a look at the first card, but don't tell me. I'm just going to go for the number. We're going to warm up here with the number. Just think of the number of the card. Don't even think of the color or anything. Just the number. It's a 5. Am I correct? And it is a 5. Perfect. We're going to do it again. So let's go for the other card. So just focus on it. Focus on what it is. This one, I want you to focus on the color. Focus on the color. I feel it's black. And it's also, think of the value. You're having a bit of a hard time thinking of the value here, which means it's not a number card statistically, even though it is attributed a number. It's a 1. It's an ace, isn't it? And then get it. So you say, perfect. Now we're going to do it again. This time we're going to immediately, I just want you to take a look at the card and send it to me. It's a 4, right? 4. Excellent. Now I want you to take all of the other cards that you have and hold them in your hand. And this time I want you to focus on everyone and remember them clearly. So focus on the first one. Okay, focus on the second one. And focus on the last one. Eight of clubs, 2 of hearts, 6 of spades. And that would be the 8 of clubs, 2 of hearts, 6 of spades. So that is one of the routines that you can achieve with what you learned in the download. And you can see how powerful this could be using the most simplest of principles to achieve this. It really is so simple to do. And you can see how powerful this could be to a layman and to someone that, even someone that's been in Magic. If you have them shuffle the cards at the start and use a bit of trickery, that of course isn't explained in there, but if you've been a bit in the Magic and you see this into Magic and you see this effect, and you can oh, maybe I could do this, and add just a bit of layers on top of it, this could fry most people, and it's very easy to do. So now that we know what the type of stuff that you're going to learn here, let's unpack all of it. So where do you buy this? You can buy this from Mine House Productions, which is Louis Leval's website. This will set you back £20, which is around 35-ish Canadian dollars. And what you get is a video tutorial. In this video tutorial, you're going to learn forces, controls, and effects. So in the forces, you're going to learn the crosscut, you're going to learn the patio. So if you know what the patio is, you know how powerful that is, and he's going to give you some great effects using that. And the cut deeper. Again, really good underlooked principles that could be used and are used by some of the best magicians out there, but a lot of people neglect them. Then you're going to learn controls. You're going to learn your classic controls, but you're also going to learn more interesting controls like the breather. Okay, so for you that have been here for, in Magic for quite a bit, you're going to learn, what I'm talking about, but the applications that he gives you are excellent. And then in terms of the effect, you're going to get an effect where you can find any card selected within a spread. You can get any card with just a flick. One finger, the cards are cut by your spectator, and with just one finger, you can cut to their card. You're going to learn an effect, which is the one I performed, which is called see through their eyes, so you're able to look away and see all of the cards that they're seeing. You're going to learn a drawing, a reveal / duplication, a name reveal, a thought of name revealed. You're going to learn a lovely routine with a one ahead, and then you're going to learn a prediction reveal that is also very good, and one that is also similar to something published by Luc Germain, something that he does kind of professionally. Of course, he does it a bit differently. But you're going to learn some top tier material in this download. So now let's talk about difficulties. How difficult is the material in this download? Well, I think the name says it all. It is for beginners. So overall, most of the material is very simple. Now, do I perform the material here? Some of it I do. Do I perform it the way it's explained? Not really. But seeing the concepts and the ideas here gets your mind turning to how to make the effects more deceptive, like the one that I performed for you. If you have a memorized deck or anything like that, you can have the deck cut multiple times, and then it could even be a legit cut at the end. And then you proceed to do the effect, right? There's a ton of ways. You can also have, you can do clean shuffles like this at the start and have, them push the cards together. Or you can even, if they know, you can have them cut the deck multiple times and so forth, then show that the cards are fully mixed. And then as you place them back to the table, you get into the position you need for the crosscut force, or any kind of subtleties that you can add. If you're a bit more experienced, you can make these beginner effects play incredibly well. So overall, these are very simple, and I think that if you are a beginner, learning just what's here could make you kind of a superstar. Just learning these fundamentals could really bring you a long way into your journey, and I really do stand by that. And the teaching, of course, is fantastic. In terms of practicality, most of the material here uses no gimmicks. It just uses standard decks of playing cards or standard empty blank billets or business cards and the Sharpie. One of the effects that does use a gimmick, but overall it's nothing that you probably don't have. Even if you're a beginner, you can make it almost directly at home. It's very simple to make. It just takes a glue stick. So overall, in terms of practicality, carrying capacity, a Sharpie, some billets, and deck of cards, and you're good to go. In terms of inspectability, pretty much everything is inspectable. In terms of repeatability, almost pretty much everything is repeatable because the outcomes are different for almost every single routine. Also, the one that I performed, you can have different outcomes. It's very easy to do. You can even do longer streaks of reveals if you want, but that's up to you. And in terms of table, a lot of these do not need a table. Even the effect that I performed, you do not necessarily have to do the force that I did. If you're good with the, with a force like this, you can have them take 6 cards from the middle and do what you need to do. So they are adaptable. You don't necessarily need a table for all of these effects. They can be done standing up. So now that you know all of this, where would you perform this material? This material works for both kind of sitting down, parlor, cabaret, stash environments, but it can also work for close-up, cocktails, table hopping. It will work perfectly in pretty much all of your scenarios. And of course, as a beginner, you're mostly going to perform for your family, for your friends. This material is perfect to cover that ground. Having kind of dissected this download quite thoroughly for you, what are the positives and negatives of this? So one of the negatives that I could say of this download is that if you're very, very seasoned, you may already know all the moves and think, oh, this is too baby for me. But even if you're in that camp, as I said, you'll maybe be inspired by the babiness of the effects to build an effect with the principle that you probably forgot and make it 10 times better than another one that you do. For example, for me, I was doing a cartomancy routine where I would have to memorize cards in order to do kind of a mental kind of reading with the spectator. But I was like, what about if I use the principle here, the cut deeper force, and I make the last card, instead of getting 3 readings, I make the last card into a premonition reading. How about that? And the effect just went like this, by using one of the things in this book, in this download. So that's what I'm saying, is that even if you are a seasoned pro, don't dismiss the fundamentals. But in terms of positive, it's extremely well explained. It's a variety of effects. You have names, you have dates, you have drawings, cards, bank night routines that you can do with the patio force. There's a ton of material here for you to unpack. It's diverse, it's achievable by anyone, and just gets your cogwheels going, which is always a bonus. So having said all of this, would I recommend Mentalism for beginners, and what do I give it out of 10? If you've been in Mentalism for quite some time, I still recommend this. If you are new to Mentalism, go buy this. You're gonna love it. So what am I giving this out of 10? I'm giving this a 9.25 on 10. It is great, and I think that it is nice to always look back a bit at your fundamentals in order to maybe improve some of your effects with much simpler routines that you may think that are too baby, but actually you'd realize if you do them how good they actually are, and it removes 90% of your sleight of hand or angle restrictions that you may have in certain routines. So I do think this is worth it for pretty much anyone. I heavily recommend it. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in my next review. Have a good one, and bye-bye.